If we're not wasting each other's time, send me the numbers. What's up, Bride Tribe? Welcome back to another episode of the Type A Plus Bride series. For all of you who are new here, my name is Teely. I like to think of myself as the 2027 head bride in charge. This will be our second episode in this series. If you haven't already, go check out episode 1, where we talk about wedding planning just in a general sense. So for today's episode, we're actually going to move on to the first thing I think is the most important thing that you get started on early, and that is finding your wedding venue. Finding the wedding venue is so important because it sets the tone for the entire wedding day. The location is the vibe. Now, if you can't get the location that you want, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit, there are things that you can do to give that location the vibe that you're looking for. Because remember, we're Type A plus, okay? We don't go with the flow, we create the flow, okay? Everything happens on the vision that we created, and it's all about, I'm not trying to be perfect, but I can create the environment that I want to be in. So let's just start with why I think finding your wedding venue is really the first thing that should be on your wedding planning list. And that is just because weddings have become such its own thing. I mean, they've always been these big spectacles, but even more so now than ever, that people book their wedding venues out, especially if it's a very coveted venue. They book out a year, 2 years in advance, which is another reason why I think a 2-year engagement is the perfect one, because it increases the chance that you'll get the venue that you want. But aside from that, people book their weddings out far. And not only do people book their weddings out far, because there are popular times to have a wedding, those dates, those special dates, those high volume dates, they get booked out first. So I'll go back to what we were talking about before, weddings being such a big spectacle. A lot of times for many people, myself included, the wedding doesn't just last one day or one afternoon. Especially if it's a destination, they last an entire weekend. So we're talking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And a lot of times, to make it easier on guests, people will book their wedding venue for a holiday weekend. So those weekends where people are off work on the following Monday, and that way they can make sure that their guests get the full experience of their entire wedding weekend. So like President's Day weekend is very popular. Labor Day weekend is very popular for weddings. Juneteenth is becoming very popular for weddings. So keeping that in mind, unless you're getting married in your cousin's backyard or in your own backyard, the place that you're booking at is going to have a schedule, and you're going to want to get on that schedule as soon as possible, which is why you need to put this finding your wedding venue at the top of your list. I want you to close your eyes. I know this is kind of weird, but just roll with me here. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to envision yourself standing with your fiance, and you're holding hands. The officiant says, "You may now kiss the bride." You kiss, you look at each other lovingly, you look out at your guests who are here to celebrate you. Now I want you to open your eyes. Where are you? Wherever you are, that's where you're getting married. Some people are like, Teely, I am envisioning myself in Aruba on the beach and I cannot afford that. That is okay, because it's not about exactly where you're getting married, the specific location. It's about creating that feeling of, this is where I want to be. This is the environment I want to be in when I get married. Now, me and my fiance were fortunate enough that we only visited one location and we signed on the dotted line. I was just like, yep, this works. This is perfect. And we thought that we were going to be destination wedding people for a number of reasons. One of them being just because we wanted to feel like we were somewhere that we loved, somewhere that we enjoy. And the crazy thing about it is we live somewhere that we love and enjoy. So we are originally from the East Coast. We are the only ones from our family that really live in this area. Granted, we've started to create our own community because we've been here now and made our home here, but our guests are coming to us on the West Coast. And because they're coming from East Coast to West Coast, that is a 6-hour flight. Okay, I don't know if y'all know, but that is a long flight. And for a lot of our family members, it's gonna feel like they're at a destination because it's such a long trip. Another reason that it's gonna feel like they're at a destination is because it's at such a very specific and special part of our country. So we are in fact getting married in wine country, Northern California. And what's so great about that is if you haven't been there, it feels like you're in another country. And to be honest, it's not very flashy. It's very quiet. It's a lot of landscape, a lot of vineyards. And what's funny is that when I envisioned myself growing up where I wanted to get married, I always said I wanted to get married in a church or in a garden, because I just loved the idea of the parallelism of the Garden of Eden. And that's where, man and woman were first created. And I'm just a very nature type of girl. I have so many plants in my house. I love taking pictures of flowers and landscapes is literally one of my favorite hobbies is photography. And I just knew I wanted to get in an environment that was either at the church, at an altar, or outside where God could see me. But yes, and we actually ended up in wine country, which is a beautiful thing. We'll be getting married under a tree, which I love. And it just feels, it's going to give me that feeling of destination, of being somewhere where God can see me clearly. I'm joking when I say this, but I'm for real. I need to be outside. And I did have those feelings of okay, I wanted to get married in the church at an altar because I wanted to make sure that we were rooted, in God and faith. And the more I sat and the more I think about it and the more I kind of went with the flow, what was so interesting is it reminded me that God is literally everywhere. That is the point. He is omnipresent. He is everywhere. And so to think that he wouldn't be there front and center on my wedding day is crazy. Girl, be for real. But it did help me come to terms with, okay, I don't have to be specifically in a church house. And y'all be surprised, these church houses for weddings, okay, they fill up quick too. So don't think just because you get married at church don't mean that it's not going to fill up fast, because it will. You still need to get that date on the books. So yes, that is actually where we ended up going. And I would just say, as far as wedding planning and finding your venue, it's really important to research. So I think one of the reasons why we were able to just visit one place, like what we saw and signed on the dotted line, is because we were able to weed out a lot of places online already. And when you're reaching out to these venues and these locations, you can kind of get a sense of how they're going to treat you throughout the process just based off of first impressions. So for example, I had probably emailed somewhere around 5 to 10 locations, venues in the area, and I could just tell just by email correspondence who was worth actually even going to see versus who was not worth the time of day. And I'm talking, I would send an email. This one place I sent an email to, first of all, they didn't respond for 2 weeks. Okay, the correspondent was slow, and it wasn't like it was a holiday or anything. And it's not like they do anything other than this. They are an event venue. So if you're an event venue and I'm emailing you about an event and y'all say y'all specialize in wedding, it should not take you 2 weeks to email me back. Second thing, if you email me back and I sent you an email and my name is in the email as well as in the signature, as well as in my actual @gmail.com, why are you spelling my name wrong? That is just beyond me. How do you spell somebody's name wrong? That is crazy. And then venues being very secretive about what they offer. I did not like that. Now, some people say, oh, it's to make sure that you come in. But if we're not wasting each other's time, send me the numbers. Send me the numbers. Let me know what I'm working with. And that will tell me, am I about to spend my time going to see this place or not? And to be honest, the one place that had the best email correspondence, that I got the best feeling from through email, they ended up, we visited, we loved the grounds. We spoke with the event manager. She was pleasant, and that mattered. A lot of people think that, oh, it's just the venue. No, it's the people that are going to be there supporting you on that day. Who is in charge of the space? Is their correspondence good? Does your energy match with theirs? That is not something to be ignored. You want to make sure that these people that you're going to be having this relationship with on your special day are people that you want to be around, people that listen to your concerns, people that answer your questions. So it's not just about the location, it's also about the people. And we're fortunate to have picked a venue where the vendor limitations were very clear. So another thing that you'll find when you're looking for a wedding venue is that some places will only allow vendors from a preferred list. So we're talking caterers, florists, decor, things like that. And if you have a specific chef that you want to work with, or a specific, florist or DJ or things like that you want to work with, and your dream venue does not allow that, that's where the flexibility comes in, because everything won't go how it's envisioned in your head. But if you have room to be flexible with that vision, it will still all come together. Now, I haven't had my wedding yet, so I can't be like, everything was perfect. But again, because I'm a type A+ bride, I'm going to make sure that me, my fiance, and our guests have the best possible experience. And not because I'm not a perfectionist. I have to keep saying this because my mom's like, you're a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm going with the flow. If I was a perfectionist, it would be very different, okay? I would be very stressed, but I'm not. I'm very much so enjoying this process and enjoying the ability to have an event on such a large scale. And again, even if you don't end up having a large wedding, it's important for you to just enjoy this. If you're not one who enjoys serving others or curating spaces where people can feel warm and loved and celebrated and just detached from, some of the negativity that we encounter every day, then this is not for you. If I had to pick one person that I feel like has been a real great reference point for me, don't drag me in the comments because I don't want to hear that. It's Meghan Markle. Okay, that girl that got it figured out, child. She is unbothered, okay? The way that she just be putting together her jams, wrapping her gifts, I be like, that's the type of time I'm on, because you just want the best for the people around you and you want the best for yourself. So it's just yes, I want people to enjoy this, and I want them to be in a place where they're going to enjoy it, which is why I go back to saying it's not about the actual location. It's what's going to give you that feeling. And again, if you end up saying, all I have is this blank room, but the blank room is in budget, okay, we got something to work with then, because now we can go into, florals and lighting and decor, which is literally one of the things I'm most excited about in doing this entire thing. Is how are we going to decorate this space? Because you'd be surprised what you can transform, child. But anyways, that's all I have for today on wedding venues. In our next episode, we're actually going to be talking about my very, very, very favorite part of this entire process, and that has been finding a wedding dress. I have very strong opinions on how to find a perfect wedding dress, and a lot of people don't agree with me, and that's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to, but just know that on my wedding day, she will be the birthday. Okay, so like, comment, and subscribe. I will tune in with you guys next week, and I will see you in the next episode.